further, you know, instilling the nonsense and the ignorant behavior that the youth is doing in the community. They the ones telling you, you know, don't snitch, stick to the street code. Oh, sell these drugs. Oh, do this to this person. So I want to.
By the way, those OGs telling you stick to the street code, this, that, and the third. Look where that has got them. These motherfuckers are still on this same block. They are still here, 30, 40, 50, sometimes even 60, 70 years old. Telling you, oh, bro, street code, don't snitch, don't do this, don't do that, man. Sell these packs, this, that, and the third. Look where that has got them. They haven't traveled outside your city. They haven't traveled outside your hood. They haven't done Nathaniel. They are still in that same predicament. I really want all of the people that would get influenced by the street shit to look at, to hear me and hear what I'm saying, and look at these OGs that you respect so much. They are still in the same fucking place and situation that you are in right now. Do you really want to be 30, 40, 50 on the same corner, on the same avenue, on the same block, in the same hood? I hope your answer is no. Ah, man, we got the truth about YNs. Video by Antonio Speaks. Fuck the talking. Let's get into it, man. Let's go.
See, I got a homie that's a billionaire, and I be trying to explain it to him like, if your mom ain't on crack or if she got a job and she doing 8 hours a day, and your daddy in the graveyard in the jail cell, who the fuck gonna babysit?
Now, first and foremost, this is not one of those black fatigue videos. So if you clicked on this video thinking I'm about to stroke your racist ego, wrong.
Get the fuck out. Oh, you racist bitch ass niggas in my comments, get the fuck out.
Video, pal. See, one thing about me, man, I'm always gonna give the black perspective. Most times, a lot of these media outlets just run with the same narrative that comes from people that aren't even in these situations. And this is why we need more black media outlets, okay? Now, today we're gonna be talking about YNs. Just think of someone like King Von or any other hood dude. That is what a YN stands for. I wanna bring up that I also do not support degeneracy. I do feel like in order for us to reach our full potential, we gotta have a set of moral codes that is the standard and everyone should follow. But before we even get to that point, we gotta address why things are so f***ed up.
They called it the projects. They put us in projects.
So I recently copped a new book, The Color of Law. This is a book that goes deep into topics like redlining and also just other racist tactics that have been used and are still being used today. Something that I found interesting though in this book was public housing, or what we know today as the projects, originally was not intended for black people. It was for working and lower middle class white folk. Now fast forward to today and the demographic of the public housing looks entirely different. Now this wasn't by accident, it was by design. See, with things such as the urban renewal and redlining, most white families ended up moving to the suburbs and the black folks went to public housing.
A boy last week.
And by the way, if you don't know what redlining is basically where these red zones were made, where, oh, black people, you live here in these red zones right here, you can't come out and live in these other zones right here where the white people are at. And those zones where the white people were at were the suburbs, and those zones where the black people were at eventually became the hoods that we see today. Literally gatekeeping black people from living in upper class communities just because of the color of their skin. Fuck.
He was 16 in San Francisco, told me on television. Thank God we got him to talk. Maybe somebody will start to listen. He said, I got no country, I've got no flag. Now he's only 16 years old. And I couldn't say you do. I don't have any evidence to prove that he does. They were tearing down his house because San Francisco is engaging, as most northern cities now are engaged, in something called urban renewal, which means moving the Negroes out. It means Negro removal. That is what it means.
So, the projects, it's in the name, the project. Just imagine you stick a bunch of poor people in overcrowded areas with the little to no jobs in the area, horrible food choices, with drugs and guns everywhere. What do you think is going to happen? And this is where we get into the whole black on black crime thing. It's not real, by the way.
Well, let's look at the stats. Black people commit about 6,000 murders a year. 98% of it is against other black people. That's 6,000 murderers. There's 40 million black people that live in America. The overwhelming majority of black people are not murdering anybody. The chance that you get struck by lightning
What the fuck? Brandon Tatum is saying this? turn over. No, he probably didn't turn over a new leaf. But what the fuck? Still recovering from my sickness, my bad. But damn, for a man who has profited off of the suffering of black people and has made hella black fatigue videos and all this shit, it's kind of weird to see Brandon Tatum saying shit like this. I'm not gonna lie to you. Not gonna lie.
More to get murdered by a black man. It's concentrated areas of poverty and violence. When I was a police officer, I noticed that white crime and poverty go together like black crime and poverty. The only difference is gang-related violence, which make black people go up another notch. Right. But when you talk about abandoning children, meaning fatherless homes, when you talk about people using violence, killing each other, stabbing each other, robbing, stealing, white people had the same rate of some of this stuff as when I grew up. White neighborhoods are still places you don't want to live. The poor, impoverished white neighborhoods. People that don't understand that because they never.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. The same way people don't want to live near O Block is the same reason why I don't want to live near Odd, West Virginia. It's a bunch of poor white people being Neanderthals.
Patrolled and lived anywhere other than some little small area where they only had.
Not all of Odd, West Virginia, by the way. For all my people that live there, which I don't think any of them would watch me, but yeah, it's
negative experiences with black people. They really don't understand the totality of what we're really looking at here.
That was a statement from one of the biggest black conservatives on the internet, Officer Tatum. He said that out of his mouth. What are we talking about? Now I want to
that shit was AI.
His talking points where he said the majority of black people aren't murdering people. Yes, most people living in the hood or the projects aren't doing any crimes. But what tends to happen is you get infected by your environment. If you're waking up every day seeing the same thing over and over.
You know what's so crazy, bro? The media will have you think, oh, black people are a bunch of murderers, yada, yada. There are 40 to 46 million of us in the country. And less than, I think maybe 2 or 3%, correct me if I'm wrong, will commit a murder this year. You feel me? Like, come on, man. Come on, dog. The media will have you think that black people are a bunch of violent thugs when the whole time only 6,000 of the 46 to 40 million black people that are in this country will commit a murder.
It might just rub off on you. It's the same way when we see a lot of these black kids that live in the suburbs. You'll literally hear people tease them because they're talking white, but everyone is just a product of their environment. Now let's go back to around the 60s and the 70s. The projects, they weren't really that bad, and this was because we had groups around such as the Black Panthers and other prominent black leaders within the community. Now let's bring up Richard Nixon. And I know Ronald Reagan gets a lot of hate, but Richard Nixon should get the same amount. Now I say this all the time, but black unity has always been a threat. I'm going to read you words verbatim from his aide. The Nixon campaign in 1968 and the Nixon White House after that had two enemies, the anti-war left and black people. You understand what I'm saying? We knew we couldn't make it illegal to be either against the war or black, but by getting the public to associate the hippies with marijuana and the blacks with heroin, they criminalized them both heavily, we could disrupt those communities. We could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night on the evening news. Did we know we were lying about the drugs? Of course we did. Just gotta let that sink in right fast.
Hearing that shit boils my fucking blood, bruh. Unity within the black community scared the government so much that they decided to lie on black people, causing them to get killed, unjustly arrested, all that shit. And all of the positive leaders that were in the Black Panther Party, all the positive leaders that were in the hoods, giving back to the hoods, whether it was food, clothes, stuff like that, bringing positivity within the community, they all have literally either been in jail or got murked by the government, which is so fucking crazy, bro.
Y'all niggas brainwashed. They just want to rap and hoop. Could have been a lawyer until they came and shackled you.
One thing I love about, a lot of us that are living in Black America, we go through a lot of the same things, no matter the area. You know, I'm from South Carolina, man, and just growing up, everybody literally thought the only way out was by playing basketball, football, or rapping. And you know, ball has always been life, man. That's all we did in the neighborhood, bro. Play football and play basketball. But I do wish a lot of us would have dabbled into other things. A lot of these young athletes are very smart. They could have been a lawyer, they could have been a doctor, they could have been, you know, anything big. But instead, they put all their eggs into sports. And you know, I don't want to crush anybody's dreams, but let's be realistic, bro. You're under 6 foot. You not really doing too good in high school basketball.
I don't know about that whole under 6 foot thing, man. Isaiah Thomas was doing his thing for a brick. Nate Robinson was doing his thing for a brick. People might call him, oh, he's an anomaly, but that nigga was 5'6", out here averaging more than 15 points a game. Like, you feel me? I don't know, man. I'm not one to shit on somebody's dreams, stuff like that. What's for you is for you. Some people want to be lawyers and doctors. Some people want to be content creators, rappers, basketball players, all that shit. You feel me? And I'm not going to criticize either or route, bro. What route is for you, period.
I don't think you're going to the NBA. Let's look at other options. But let's say you grew up doing other activities. You was in robotics. You was in STEM programs. You were in reading clubs, chess clubs. You in these clubs at a young age are already opening doors and giving.
A lot of the problems with that, though, is the fact that in these impoverished, the hood communities, a lot of these schools don't have chess clubs, don't have STEM programs, don't have a lot of these things. So, of course, these kids are going to turn to basketball or football or whatever other sport because it's easily accessible. I feel like if we were to bring these things into these schools that are in the hoods and stuff like that and make it more easily accessible for the kids, you would see much more of a divide, man. You would see much more of a, you know, people going towards STEM, going towards this, going towards that. But a lot of these schools don't have that shit.
You a higher chance of success than, you know, the sports. Now, don't get me wrong, playing sports does have its positive. It keeps you out of trouble, you're getting physically active, and it's building community. You're having fun with your friends. But what we really have to start doing is telling the youth that this isn't guaranteed. And you know, some of them may perceive this as hating, but you're just being honest. Most likely, you're not going to make it to any of these big leagues. Now, this is where we have to study the failed athlete to street dude pipeline. If you go on Facebook right now and look up some of the most notable athletes you went to high school with, they might be on the block right now. You know what I'm saying? Growing up, they only had one plan in mind. Get to the NBA, get to the NFL. And once their biggest dream and their main goal failed, they had nothing to fall back on and went to the only thing that they grew up knowing. The streets. Now, let's shift our focus to, you know, the rappers and young kids wanting to be like them. I feel like we need to make a distinction between rap and drill rap because it is entirely different. Rap, even though a lot of them talk about the streets, it's storytelling or, you know, things that they came from. While on the other hand, drill is like low-key on some straight up, we just killing each other and we gonna talk about it. But my thing is, man,
there's a difference between, let's take Philly rap, for example. There's a difference between an OT7 Kwani and a Core. You feel me? Core is a storyteller. That nigga will make you feel that shit. Talk about what he's been through in life in Philly and stuff like that. OT7 Kwani is talking about getting money and killing niggas. You feel me? Now, I'm not trying to down either or, but I'm saying there's a difference. What he's talking about here, there's a difference between someone like a Core and then someone like an OT7 Kwani. You see what I'm saying?
A lot of these young kids, they're looking up to these rappers, drill rappers in particular. And you know, as a young person looking at these dudes, you may be easily influenced by them. But the crazy thing is, y'all, most of these rappers aren't even living that lifestyle.
We're gonna die! Run, nigga! Hold on, Sneaky. Where's your gun? Oh, yeah. Y'all niggas is in for it now. How you gonna drop the gun, Gangstalicious? That is not gangster. That's very not gangster. Man, I can't believe this. You a fraud.
I'm a fraud. You scared too?
I'm 8.
Okay, fine, whatever. I'm a fraud. I'm just an average, normal dude. I don't want to do this stupid shit no more. I'm tired of getting shot. Help
It's like going to heaven and finding God smoking crack.
So it's crazy because they're talking about doing all this crazy stuff in the streets, shooting this person, doing this and that to another black man, by the way. That ends up influencing you to do it. Now you in jail. Whole time they wasn't even doing it for real. They were just talking about it for the money. And we see how that influences, you know, the hood so much. Now, I also don't want to put the entire blame on rappers, because even rappers, you know, a lot of the things they talk about, money, fast cars, houses, yachts, they're literally just rapping about what America already perpetrates: capitalism and having a lot of money.
You want to start a fundraiser with no cause? Cause, nigga. I'm the cause. Cause.
Yeah, but I say the rapper talking about the fast cars and the lifestyle, stuff like that, to the poor black person. There's also the countryman talking about the house with acres of land and the lifted truck and all this stuff and horses and animals and all that shit, to the poor white man, bro. It's like all of it revolves back to capitalism. That's all it revolves back around to.
Cause I want a yacht. Cause I want to get this guap, nigga. That's the cause.
Now let's bring up Richard Nixon again, because this was literally his plan. Richard Nixon viewed an uncontrolled black power movement as a major threat to the internal security of the United States during the late 1960s and early 1970s. To address the situation, Nixon developed his Black Capitalism Initiative. The Nixon presidency offered African Americans the notion of black capitalism as an incentive to move away from the notion of burn baby burn. See, Nixon was so smart. He wanted to break up the community aspect and push for individualism and for own self's gain. Nixon has succeeded. This is why we have Jay-Z's and no more Fred Hamptons, Malcolm X's, man. He won.
They taught us if we go to jail, we would be respected. They taught us if we make a sale, we would run a check-in.
Now let's talk about a lot of the OGs within the black community. The
Oh, boy.
34-year-olds that still gang banging, still trying to sell drugs, all this other nonsense. Although they were once those young kids that we talked about in the beginning, they never got their act together, which is the whole plan at the end of the day. These
Yeah, like the YNs, there's still a little bit of hope for them because they're young. If you're 30, 40, 50 still on the block, I ain't gonna lie to you, you lost. I ain't gonna lie to you. There ain't nothing we can really do for you. You gonna have to look inside yourself and realize you fucked up in life. The young boys and young girls out here that are doing this shit, there's still a little hope for them because they're young. You can still pull them out a little bit. But 30, 40, 50, you grown as fuck now, man. You grown as hell.
are further, you know, instilling the nonsense and the ignorant behavior that the youth is doing in the community. They're the ones telling you, you know, don't snitch, stick to the street code. Oh, sell these drugs. Oh, do this to this person. So I want to.
By the way, those OGs telling you stick to the street code, this, that, and the third. Look where that has got them. These motherfuckers are still on this same block. They are still here, 30, 40, 50, sometimes even 60, 70 years old. Telling you, oh, bro, street code, don't snitch, don't do this, don't do that, man. Sell these packs, this, that, and the third. Look where that has got them. They haven't traveled outside your city. They haven't traveled outside your hood. They haven't done Nathaniel. They are still in that same predicament. I really want all of the people that would get influenced by the street shit to look at, to hear me and hear what I'm saying and look at these OGs that you respect so much. They are still in the same fucking place and situation that you are in right now. Do you really want to be 30, 40, 50 on the same corner, on the same avenue, on the same block, in the same hood? I hope your answer is no.
Up the movie Who Cloned Tyrone, man. Amazing film, by the way, and I want to do a full breakdown, maybe on another channel or something like that. Let me know if you want to see it. But in that movie, it shows how certain people are needed for the dysfunction in the black community to continue. So there were two mainly, the pimp and the gang member. Anytime they got killed, they were cloned and put back into the community to keep up further destruction. Think about if a lot of these younger kids had better role models. There are countless alternatives that these kids just don't even know about.
You can get your first gun at 6 years old, for sure.
How does a 6-year-old get a gun in Baltimore?
I love seeing this clip every
it's
time.
easy. It's super easy. Probably by your brother.
I came into his life 2 years ago. going on 3. He was a little menace around here. There's not a gun you can ask him about he don't know about. Always carried guns, right? One day, you tell him what happened.
I seen him walking up the street with all these brothers for real. They was talking to me, they had gave me a lot of money and stuff. I went home, busted down with my peoples for real. He had told me to come back later on to come see him for real, boom. I came back later on that day, had a gun on me. All the older dudes, they was showing me all the bad stuff, showing me the wrong routes. He was like, you know you risking like what's going on. He said like, you gotta take it off of you. I wasn't taking it off me. I goes back, I try go in the alley somewhere and tuck it some more, thinking I was slip. I come back, he checked me again, he still found it for real. He hollered at me, he like, you still bring it back for real. Took me to the water, I had to throw my gun for real. I ain't want to do it. I told him I wasn't doing it at first. They had hold me, he like, I got you, like I'm riding behind you, like, once you throw this gun, I'm with you all the way. Like, you gotta let it go. So I let it go, and now we here. And now, this my gun, you heard me. This my switch. When I had a flash on there, it's definitely gonna blind you, like I'm telling you, like.
Now let's bring up solutions to these problems. And you know, I get this talk about, oh bro, all you do is talk about the bad, you never provide any solutions. I always provide solutions, y'all just don't watch the whole video. But let's take for example, Baltimore. The crime in Baltimore has always been bad. But as of recently, things—
Shit was literally the murder capital at one point. And his neighbor DC was too, you know. These are 2 places that I'm right by, I'm literally right next to, by the way.
Have changed. First and foremost, shout out to Baltimore's mayor. This is the smoothest brother I done seen in a minute. The afro, the lineup is on point. Now, as y'all can see, as of November 3rd, 2025, homicides and non-fatal shootings are down this year compared to 2024. 31% of homicides and non-fatal shootings are at 22%. Now, the way he did this wasn't by over-policing and pushing more officers into these neighborhoods. No, he got to the root causes of the problem.
Ernest Scott introduced Baltimore's first ever comprehensive violence prevention plan, and it's working. Instead of just policing, they shifted to community-based intervention, trauma-informed support, and data-driven enforcement. They funded community programs that help mediate violence on the streets. So organizations and things like that that step in and they try to, you know, provide mediation for people who may be at high risk or who may lack therapy and things of that sort. They gave them money to be able to do their job better. In Brooklyn neighborhood, a specific neighborhood where the homicide rate was insane in 2023, they went an entire year without a single homicide.
Sheesh.
Then they decided to target the groups at the highest risks. They gave them job training, housing options, and counseling, which resulted in a reduction of 31 to 39% of homicides in the pilot zones. They also seized 2,900 guns in 2023, including a bunch of ghost guns. Then he sued the ghost gun company Polymer and used that funding to put back into the city after the settlement was finished.
You see what happens when you put positivity into these lower income hood communities? The shit blossoms, literally. And I always wonder, like, in the 70s, 80s, like, why was the government so scared of people putting positivity into these communities? Because when these communities blossom, it's not going to hurt anybody. If anything, it's going to help everybody. But it all goes back to capitalism trying to make a buck and white supremacy. That's what it all goes back to.
So it's crazy that given the high risk, something to do, as well as help and assistance and holding them accountable, reduces their likelihood to commit crimes. Funding community-based programs reduces the likelihood of the community members to commit crimes. Collaborations between city, state, federal agencies, local nonprofits, and other organizations led to a reduction in crimes. And the data shows that in 6 high-risk neighborhoods, not a single homicide was recorded in 2024. So by fusing targeted law enforcement, community-led intervention, social services, and nonprofit organizations, Baltimore is seeing historic lows in its crime rate, a city known to be an avoidable city because of their crime rate. It just feels really replicable, and I just don't see a lot of cities replicating it.
Now, the final section of this video is just gonna be some positivity. I wanna show y'all the side of the projects and the hood that they don't show, because it's not all bad.
Free food, free giveaway.
Yeah.
We just shut down Stony Island. We're giving back. Ain't no young niggas, we young brothers.
Love seeing this clip
Black
too,
community,
man.
y'all know that. It's a black unity. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with being a young brother, man. It's a lot of the oldest ain't got them the right way, man. That's the real problem. But we got them right now, but we got brothers right now.
Right here on this block, but we all out here in peace and love and giving. You hear me? Big unity. Big unity. Big unity. Man, we really show that shit. What you mean? We out here. You say what? You see what happened when we come together? They can't mess with us. They trying to divide us though. It's gonna take a lot. We just shut down Stony with the trucks, everything. Give it back. We shut it down, Stony, man. Man, we out here with the youth, the people who they say cause the problems, the people who they say increasing the violence. We out here giving back. They don't show this though. Mr. Ski Mask, what you gotta say? Y'all know I feel good to be doing this. Even at a young age, I'm only 16. You say you 16 doing this? 16 doing this. Ain't enough out here. They can't say we're not doing it. We need to support our community, man. Support our kids more. Put more into our kids. But hey, you know how we put more into our kids? I put more into
And you know what's so crazy? This is the community doing it. Imagine if the governments, these cities that have these hoods and stuff like that stepped in and did something too. That's, man, that shit would be crazy.
This is exactly, and when you giving to somebody, you giving to yourself, because it's a blessing from God to be able to do the giving. Yeah.
That's it for this video though, man. I hope y'all enjoyed. I will always look at things from a different perspective. Never ever just follow an opinion because it's being parroted. This is why things like black fatigue have gotten so big, because there is no opposing force towards it.
And also, that whole saying black fatigue is not even being used in the right way. That wasn't even the original definition. But it got caught up by fucking TikTok and the right and white supremacy and all that, and they turned it into something that it wasn't supposed to be. Yeah.
There are just people agreeing, oh yeah, that is the reason, yeah. And I feel like the easy and lazy way of handling these YNs is to just send them to jail. This is the reason people are like, oh, black people are just violent. That's who they are. No, it's the environment that they're in. It's the system that they're inside of. I grew up with a lot of these dudes. Like, I understand they have a great heart, but things just happen, you know, they go down the wrong path. I love the song 3 Wishes by J. Cole, man. It was a lyric, he was like, you know, I had a friend that's a killer. I didn't know he was a killer. And it was like, bruh, I can, you know, relate to that shit, man. I know so many people I grew up with that are in the grave right now, or they're in jail, and it's like, I remember the times when we was on the game all day, we was outside playing, man. It was just so innocent, and like, damn, something just snapped and they started going to this path, I started going to this path, and it's like, I could have been in that situation too. So that's why I never judge these folks, man. No more talking to them, man. If y'all want to see something similar,
yeah, man, shout out to Antonio for this video. And yeah, man, this is the truth behind the YN, man. Don't, like Antonio said, bro, the simple, slow way of thinking is to just throw them in jail and not get to the root cause of the problem. The root cause of the problem is what's going on in these communities. And someone would be like, oh, well, I guess we should just throw them all in jail. No, if you put positivity, better things into these communities will blossom. Look at the stories that we've just seen. Like, bro, I know so many people who were in bad positions, whether they just came out of jail, they were killers, they was this, that, and the third, selling on the block, selling re-rock, all that. They had a positive influence. People started putting more positivity into their lives. And these people have blossomed. I got a friend, well, I haven't talked to him in a bit. I need to talk to him, man. But bro, was in the streets, heavy, super heavy, bro. Got on the right path. People were pouring positivity into him. It was literally like a community thing in DC. I forgot what it was called, but Brody now got his CDL and he's making $100K. He's making $100K a year or more, 6 figures, man. Just off of bringing positivity into these impoverished areas, into these hoods. There will be more stories like this, bro. Somebody who was in jail, you know, was looking at 25 to life, all this shit. And luckily that shit got reduced and he was able to get out and then get the CDL and all that. But yeah, man. And it sucks that people just look at it and they're just like, oh, send him to jail, yada yada, without looking at the root cause of what's going on in these communities. But I'm hoping that in the future, in 2026, we can get a lot more like governments onto this way of thinking of. Do some more shit for the area, bro. You put a rec center here, do a food drive here, and all this shit. Like, have more access to jobs. That and bro, the communities will blossom, bro. Same with the rappers, bro. These rappers that come from these hoods, talk about the hoods, all that shit, bro. If y'all really are fuck the streets, if y'all really are done with the street shit, if y'all really are this, that, and the third, go back into the streets and pour positivity into your communities, bro. Y'all can spend $200,000-$300,000 on them. Y'all can spend $200,000-$300,000 on the Maybach. What is stopping you from pour maybe $100K? Not even that, maybe even $50K back into these communities for something positive. Hey, y'all let me know. Let me know what you think about this video in the comments. I love y'all so much. Marso Mob the gang, Marso Mob the squad. And I'm gonna see y'all in the next video. Peace.